Hello, Donald. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Bob.
Welcome to the show. We're really glad to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Donald, you designed this game, Octi. What were you trying to accomplish with it, and did you succeed? Looking back.
Well, in the wake of Deep Blue's victory over Garry Kasparov, I was in a deep funk, thinking that human beings were gradually getting inundated by computer brain power, and so I thought, well, it's kind of throwing down the gauntlet to us human beings. Maybe we should try to devise a simple, playable game that plays to our strengths in terms of strategy and tactics. And so on reflection, I thought, well, perhaps a multi-sided trade-off game, a game where you had to balance lots of competing creative impulses would be the kind of thing that would allow human intuition to prevail over computer brute force calculation. And Octi is an attempt to develop that theme into an abstract reality. In every turn, players are confronted with a three-way trade-off between quantity, quality, and initiative. On each turn, they can either move their pieces, or they can create new pieces, or they can improve the pieces that are currently on the board. And so a computer confronted with that game must contemplate not only what all the pieces on the board can do, but also all the hypothetical pieces that might be created and placed on the board. And it turns out that, much to my surprise, it really proves difficult for a computer. When we've programmed computers to play Octi, they've had a heck of a time, even playing in very elementary versions of the game, because the number of permutations, the number of possibilities, becomes astronomically large very quickly.
Well, it strikes me that this is not the way most American games usually are developed. This sounds to me much more like some of the new imported games that are coming through, if you're familiar with them, where they give you a limited number of well, there's a lot to do, but a very limited number of choices to do.
Well, I must admit that I chuckled when you phrased the question, because at Essen, I was at a multi-day, 500,000 person game show. I was playing Octi for 12 hours a day, and I was continually asked where I learned to speak English, because it's so unlike Americans to develop this kind of game. Naturally, I told them I learned to speak it in Chicago.
Now, just after hearing you describe that, this just doesn't sound like what is usually brought out in the American market.
Yeah, they seem like more roll a dice type of.
Well, even chess or any of them, this game just seems to have a different flavor to it. In fact, maybe this is a good time to get maybe a little more specific with the game and give people an idea of what actually is going on here.
Yeah, I realize that it sounds hackneyed and self-congratulatory to say that one has developed a totally new kind of game, but I think that your viewers will appreciate the fact that it really is unlike the kinds of games that are out there, especially the classic abstract games like chess or Go, Mancala, and the like. This is rather different. Octi is a game which is half game and half construction toy, and players will doubtless notice the similarity to Tinker Toys and Kinects that were used in the first prototypes. The name Octi derives from the fact that the pieces are eight-sided and have holes on the perimeter of the pieces, 8 holes for each piece. Those pieces are called pods, and into those pods are inserted pegs called prongs. And on each turn, players must decide between either adding new pods to the board on one of the black starting squares that they control, or adding pegs to their pods, enabling those pieces to move in the direction of the pegs, or jump in the direction of the pegs, or to move the pieces, or jump them, as in checkers. And Octi has been likened to a game of directional checkers, but there's a big difference between Octi and checkers. Checkers is a crimped game of bottling up the opponent. Octi is a freewheeling game with lots of multiple jumps, and you never have to jump or capture in Octi, and you can jump over pieces of either color. So if you like the kind of freewheeling action of a multiple jump in checkers, you're going to be in for a treat in Octi, because it's multiple jumps aplenty. Now, the idea of the game is not like checkers at all. It's not a wanton slaughter of all the opponent's pieces. Nor is it like chess. It's not a game of assassination where you hunt down and kill a king. It's a game where you're trying to occupy the starting squares of the opponent. So it's a game of territorial capture. It can be played either in its fast version or its full version. In the fast version, you're merely trying to land on one of the opponent's starting squares, and in the full version, you're trying to simultaneously occupy all three. The full version, needless to say, is the version that will keep computers occupied for a long, long time.